Tonight we're talking about the Tin HiFi T5. Say that 5 times quickly after a drink. It's a bit of a tricky one tonight in terms of how it stacks up against the competition with the price. Let's have a closer look. So thanks to Ayashida Hi-Fi for sending these to me tonight to have a listen and tell you guys what I think. Of course, all the descriptions will be in the links below. Subscribe, like, dance, drink more coffee, do lots of nice things, and that would be great. Thank you very much. I am also going to include in the links links to the KZXAX and the CCA CKX just for you guys to compare what is on the table tonight, even though these are sitting at probably twice the price that these units are. Also, if you would like to win these, then make sure you hit the giveaway link in the description below and you'll go in with a chance to win these. And if this is already expired, then there'll be other competitions there with probably some more IEMs or other stuff that you could win. So with the T2, we had a double dynamic driver configuration. The T2 really kind of launched the whole Tin HiFi following and popularity. A lot of people really believed that it was an exceptional IEM for the price and really kind of launched a lot of buzz around you know what a lot of people call the Chi-Fi movement. I just think that's wrong. It's just hi-fi, guys. It doesn't matter whether it's in Japan or in China or in Australia or in the US. It's just hi-fi. I only have one complaint really that is the strongest about this, which I'll go into in a minute. Let's start with, you know, obviously what you get in the box. It's a decent sized box compared to, you know, what you're going to get with the KZXAX and what you're going to get with the CCA. And the reason being obviously is that they definitely want you to feel like you're getting value for money. And again, at the price, which currently is about 129 US dollars, it's a little bit higher than some of the other like entry level or more affordable, not entry level, but more affordable kind of IEMs that you're going to get. It does come automatically out of the box, and if you've ever watched my videos, you know how much I suck at opening these. Oh, there we go. So once you crack into it, you get the IEMs with phone tips automatically, and when you crack it open, there's a brush tool, there's some tweezers, you've got some replacement filter tips, you can't even really see those. You got your instructions, warranty cards, and you've also got a full range of silicon tip earbud sizes that you can play around with to make sure that you get the perfect fit. So in terms of accessories, yeah, a level up. This case, which I think is way too much bling for me, I feel like I should be driving a Porsche 944 white leather to match. Is actually a really good case. It's a nice solid case with a magnetic clasp. So in terms of it, you know, it's something that you can throw in your bag. Oh man, I don't know if it's going to stay white for very long in the bottom of my bag, but it does work really well. And while it looks quite spacious and capacious, it's is that a word? It fits them, you know, about right. So amazing unboxing as always. We'll just push that to the side and then just start really focusing on the IEMs themselves. In terms of tech specs, we've got a 10 to 20,000 hertz frequency range, 48 ohms, pretty easy to drive from anything, you know, and usually for these reviews I just use a smartphone as a source, usually an iPhone, because I think most people that are buying these aren't necessarily going to be slapping them on to an expensive DAP, like an Aslan Kern or an iBasso or anything of those. So I would definitely say that these drive really well. The cable, obviously gold plated, 2-pin connectors on the end, and a Kevlar coated cable, which I definitely feel feels good. It's not braided, it's twisted. But it's got a real sort of solid feel to it, so I don't think you're going to have too many problems with that. It's certainly not a cable that I instantly thought, man, I want to replace that. The other cool thing with the cable that none of the other budget IEMs on the market come with, that's a generalization, but I'm just saying for the ones that I own, which is quite a few, is that they actually have the cable ring built onto the cable. Hopefully you can see that. Now the benefit of that is when you've got the IEMs on and you're running the cable down the back, which is where they're meant to go, by the way, not the front, you can pull that up and it just tightens and secures your IEMs on your head, and it's the way it's meant to be. And it's you've just got to do it. And if you don't have one of these on your IEMs, if you've got something like the KZXs or you know, the CCAs or anything else, the basins, whatever, you can do things like just put a little bit of a, like I use a little rubber band because it's kind of a little bit grippy, and you just twist it over a few times and then you can kind of pull it up and push it back. So I'm probably shouting at you now because I can't hear anything. So thumbs up for that. So build quality, overall, really quite lovely, and these are quite large for a single driver, but the metal housing, well, let's get that in focus. The metal housing is excellently machined. I would have you know, no complaints at all about the way these have been put together. In an attempt to put these next to the KZXs, the CCA CKX and the T5s in terms of size, hopefully that gives you a bit of a picture of how it looks. Now on the outside, the KZXs has probably a similar, you know, impression in terms of overall size. The CKX are very small, and then the T5s are a bit larger and rounder. But when you do the kind of the profile view, the T5s are quite a lot deeper. The only complaint that I have with them is there's quite a bit of space around my ear once they're in. Now they've got the cable tie, they hold fast, they don't move, they don't wriggle around, but when I'm first putting them in, there's quite a lot of give and leverage around. They don't fit snug into my ear, which is probably a pretty typical ear. And so I don't know if that's a complaint or an observation. I mean, they do fit, they do stay in, but I think if I was to switch to the silicone tips from the foam, I might not feel as secure if I was going out and about for the day. How do they sound? And this was the hardest thing in terms of a lot of the IEMs that I've reviewed. When I started, I went, wow, these sound great, amazing, love them. The soundstage is clear, the treble isn't fatiguing, it's not going to wear you out, the mids are there, there's bass. And then the longer I listened to them, I thought maybe they would even kind of do well, if you believe in burn-in, to just, you know, really run them for a long time. And the reason I say that is it seemed to be that they were sensitive to what I would feed them. So there were some tracks that sounded amazing, especially rock tracks where you've got like strong guitar through them. Listening to something like, I don't know, like Thrice, which is kind of a guitar heavy sounded really nice, but then I would switch over to something else like London Grammar, and while the vocals started really well, they seemed to disappear a little bit. Flick over to something like Black Bear, which again is his vocals are quite pushed forward in his mixes, but then when everything else came in, I kind of lost him a little bit in there. You know, the bass is punchy, but not particularly overwhelming. So they seem really good, but just tonally, they just seem to be a little bit sensitive to what you feed them. And there were times when I just felt a lot that the vocals were getting a little bit lost around everything else that was going on, and didn't feel, I wanted them to sit forward. Now, it didn't feel like, you know, it wasn't a V shape where they just suck the mids out. Lots of mids, especially kind of lower mids. But it's almost like those came out a little too hard, like toms and snare were competing with vocals a little bit too hard. But overall, I think that they do sound really good. And I think a lot of people are definitely going to like these. And I'm trying to think of, if I was to say, if you listen to a lot of, I would recommend these to you. Again, I would say, you know, rock would do well. They're quite good across the frequency range. But I'm a real vocals guy, and I'm also quite keen on not like fatiguing sharp edges on all the frequencies, but I don't like to feel like it's coming through paper either. And there were times with these that I felt that, and I wanted to rave about them after I first listened to them. But the more I listened to them, the more I slowed down, the more I put them up against some of the competitors. There were definitely some pros and cons to it. So overall, a really great package. I definitely think they're not overpriced or underpriced, probably about right. whether these would be what you know, if these are the only IEMs that you're looking at buying right now, then, you know, if you purchase these, I'm sure you're going to be happy with them. If you're an audiophile that's trying to like bounce around all of the sub 200 range of IEMs, there might be some others out there that emerge a little bit ahead of these. I think there's going to be, because it's still quite new to market, I think there might be some divided opinions about these. It's going to be a love it or don't love it so much. Whereas I think something like the KZ Axe would probably be more of an all-round winner for most people, in my opinion. So yeah, have a play with them. Tell me what you think in the comments below, and stay safe out there, and I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Bye for now.